Welcome back. So we're moving on, and in the next couple of videos, we will create little applications called forms. These are part of graphical user interfaces in Access, and they basically simplify uh, data review, data management, and make Access more user-friendly. So instead of looking at the entire data set, we'll have a little window with a couple of boxes in there where we can type in what we're looking for or use a drop-down menu. So it's a quicker way to access the data and summarize it if we need it. So this will be our first little application that we'll create in Access, and we will use that to summarize our data for faculty table, and then on your own you will recreate the process for student table. So let's see. So here is the preview of the form that we will create in Access. This form allows to search for faculty information much quicker. As you can see, there is a drop-down menu right here, and there's all other information we can use, as well as quick shortcuts for closing the form and as well as deleting the records. So this is the form that we'll create, and you will then create your form on your own using basically you can use this template, but you will have it in your homework assignment. So you will recreate the form for students table. So let's see how to do that, and should be very complicated. Should not be very complicated if if you follow it step by step and pay attention. So we're back to now familiar Microsoft Access, and let's see how we create a form. So our traditional menu, home, create, external data, database tools, and so on. So the way to create form is there are a couple of options here. You can use form design, blank form, but I by default go ahead with the form wizard, and it automates the process a little bit. So for which table we want to create a form, which table we want to search with this form. Well, we're going to create a form for faculty, and you will be creating a form for students on your own. So we want to add, so which fields we want to search through? Well, we want all of them. So to add all of them, click on this, and we're going to add all of them. So what do we want to form, how we want it to look like? So you can try different ones in different settings, but we're going to go with columnar. And here we're going to modify the form design, and let's type here faculty form and hit finish. So this is a template of our form, and it has fields that it's going to be showing. And in order to, let me make this a bit smaller so you can see the entire menu. So this is actually basically design view. As if you if you go home, click on home or design, you can change the view here. So this is what the form looks like. This is a preview of the form. We can have different views here. Form preview, layout view. So one of these views allows, you can also do the same thing here. Instead of looking in the menu, you can click it here. So this option actually allows to use the form. This option is just a preview, you can't use it. And this form, we can change the design. So here, you can basically manually adjust the width of all the fields and so on. So let's do this. We're going to reproduce what I showed you in the first slide. So we're going to put a name of the form here, say College of Public Affairs and Policy, and then Shift Enter to move into the next line. If you just hit Enter, I think it will leave the faculty form. And let's do the right alignment. Right alignment. So let's preview. So in the bottom right, I can see preview. So that's shaping up. So going back to design view, the last on the right, or you can go home and then design view. So let's add the our logo, and for that we go to design and then logo. And my logo is saved on the desktop, so it's right there. And you're gonna have to go to wherever you saved the logo that is attached with the homework assignment. So here's our logo, and by default it inserts very small logo. See, so let's go back here and make it a bit bigger, something like that. Preview again. Now it looks a bit better. We can make it even bigger if we want. So this is what it looks like. Now let's rearrange the fields, because if you look at it, they all have different length, and faculty ID is huge, and that's probably because when I worked on faculty table, I defined the field to have many more characters than it actually needs. But we can rearrange again. Here is in the design view, we can change our design, and we're gonna put them all together in a nice shape. So select, click on one, then hold shift, then click on the other one, and then you can basically drag them together in a nice way. Okay, so here in this on the right, it says it tells Access what columns to look for. So don't change these values, because it says what columns in the faculty table this is referring to. We can change these values, however. This is how this will be shown up in our form. So first name, last name, office, and name. If you change this, it's going to throw an error most likely, because there you go, because it says it can't find that, because we don't have that column in our faculty. No such field in the field list. It doesn't exist. So go back, and then it should work. Okay, let's preview this. Okay, it looks better. The length of this field is too big, and you can spend any amount of time obviously working with this, making it perfect. If that helps, you can do that. If you want to be very specific, select the field and go to width, and then change the width. Hit enter. You see they all 17 almost. I'm gonna make them 1.7. 1.7 if you really want to be specific, and that applies to all other settings here. So just in case you ever have to do this, so that's that. Next, what we want to do is to add our hotkeys here, the delete button and close form button. And for that, we need to go to design and then select this box with four axes there. So it says button, so let's put it here. And then a window pops up and says, okay, what do you want this button to do? There is a numerous number of operations here. You can go through them. So we want to do something with recording operations, and we want to do delete record. I'm sorry, yeah, so with record operation. So next, now how you want it to, what do you want it to look like? As a text or as a picture? Trash can should look nice and it's more intuitive, so let's do a trash can. And what do you want to call the command? Delete record. Finish. So there is our trash can. Again, you can resize it. Let's change the view. There it is. Now let's go back to home, design view, and then let's add another button here. And in this case, we want a button for closing the form. So form operations, close form. Here, exit doorway, again, sounds intuitive. Close form, finish. All right, so we have our two buttons as, let's preview, there they are, as we did in our slide. So that takes care of that. Next, we need to add a quick find box over here, which we had in the slide. So just to separate them, let's put a line in here. And that line can be tricky. You gotta be careful because it's sometimes it's difficult to make it straight. So I'm gonna try. Let's preview. Okay, it's a straight line. Wonderful. Well, you will see sometimes it's a challenge. So in order to add basically a drop-down box, we're gonna use combo box, and we're gonna place it anywhere. We're gonna readjust it anyway. So let's do it this way, and a new window will pop up with several options. So we want to find a record based on values selected in my combo box. We don't want this one to search for any other table. And it basically will, this option will offer us what's already in the list, and we can select one. Next, we want to search, let's say, faculty ID and last name. So next, hide key column. Yes, we don't need that. Finish. Okay, it's a bit messy here, so the results will show up in the right. We're gonna make it nicer here, and when we test this, it will make more sense what this function is doing. So let's rename this quick find, and this is unbound because there are two options. I think this is why it says. So let's preview. Okay, our quick find is ready, and this one we can actually test it. So this is how our quick find works. You select the last name, and it fills in the values here. So for any faculty member, we can select the last name, and it pops out and gives all the other information that we have in the database for that faculty member. So now that we've made all the changes, let's save this form. Right-click, save. You can close the form, and you open it up by basically double-clicking on it again, and it will show up here. Close, double-click to open, change view to design. So here we can rearrange everything we want. So let's see how we add a record to our, using this form, we can add a record to our tables. So in order to do that, go to the very bottom, and we can basically skim through back and forth. We have 7 records. We can add a new one. Hit that one, and then you will obviously need to know the information. So in our case, let's add another faculty member, 5664, Mila Gasko. Whoop, misspelled, as is always the case. Yes, okay, that's correct. And Melm 304, and then her email, cgg@albany.edu. So now in order to save this, we need to go to the here, save. And now we should have 8 records. We can double check that by opening faculty, and now we have Mila Gasco Hernandez here. We can, for instance, we will also have her here now. We can change that from Mila to Mikhail, Control S, or right click and save, and the name will be Mikhail now. So you can pull up any record and change that person. But let's do the real name. Control S, and it changes here. So that's our faculty table that we created a while ago, if you remember. So you can delete a record by hitting this button now. Just you're about to delete. If you click this, you won't be able to undo. No, okay, she's still here. But if we wanted to, let's see if closes the form. So this is what we call graphical user interface. Instead of going through these numbers and trying to make sense of them, you basically have a form, a little application that simplifies the view and runs everything for you in the background and just gives you a quick summary. So just going back to the form, the student form that you will need to create, we basically have recreated everything you will need. The student form will have more fields, but the task is the same. The buttons are the same, and what we've done everything except for this advisor field here on the right. So this advisor field helps to look for information in the faculty table and save it in the students table. So let's see how to do that. All right, back to Microsoft Access. So we want to create a student form now and add the advisor list that will allow us to assign advisors to students. Now, in our existing database, all students already have an advisor. But when you add a new student, you want to be able to assign an advisor from an existing list rather than typing manually advisor's information. So let's add our student form, and we do that by going to Create Form Wizard, and here we select Students, and we add all the information. Next, columnar, and we basically leave it student form. Finish. So we get our student form, which looks very similar to what you will be creating. With you need to change the aesthetics here so that it looks nicer, maybe. Add the logo. Here's the design view. Again, you can click the design view, get to the design view by clicking this button in the bottom right, or you can go to View and then Design View. So what we want to do is to add an advisor button that will allow us to assign advisors to our students. And let's free up some space here. So left click, hold, and select everything. So it's going to be selected together, and I'm just going to drag it down just a little bit. Doesn't really matter. Now we need to add a combo button, and we're going to add it. You can add it anywhere it's shown in the picture. And what we want to do is we want to get values from another table. In this case, we're working with the students table, but we want to add values from faculty table. When we create new students, we want to be able to assign values from the faculty table. Faculty, which table you want to assign values to faculty, and let's add faculty ID and last name. That's the information we want to use. Next, when we have a drop-down menu there, the faculty last name are going to be listed there. How well we're going to say last name? We're going to say that we want the faculty to be listed by their last name in ascending order. That's what we're specifying here. ID will not be helpful because you don't remember all the IDs, but last name is easier. And here we leave everything default and store that value in this field. So when you add in these faculty values to the student table, in what field you want this to be stored, or in what column in our database, in our table. So we want this to be stored in faculty ID column. Next. And this is basically what the button is going to be called. It's going to be advisor. So this is it. Again, aesthetics, here we can play with it as much as you want. Sometimes this button will not move individually. Let's see. Yes, you see what it does? They move together, and that helps if you want to move them together all the time. If you want to move one individually, I think you need to drag it by this gray rectangle or square. So, okay, these are minor details, but let's see what it does. Well, actually, we wanted this to be somewhere like here. Make this a bit shorter. Of course, the position doesn't change the functionality. So let's see how this works actually. So let's take a look at our students. Double click, we open the student table, and we have our first student, Luke Skywalker, and the faculty ID currently assigned to that student is 9582. Double click student form, so 9582. That's Dr. Luna Rice. So what we can do is select a different faculty. Let's say Dr. Dodge, 4695. Hit Control S on the keyboard or right click and save. Go back to students, and now we have a different 4695. 4695 is Dr. Dodge. Let's go back to Luna Rice, faculty ID, Control S or right click save. 9582, 9582. So when you add a new record to your students table, you then can use this advisor drop-down menu to assign specific faculty to this new student record. And the beauty of having this advisor button here is that you will be able to assign only an existing faculty member, because it lists only the existing faculty members. So that's the utility of this button. So it makes things much easier. You don't need to look up, like, a person was advised by Dr. Matkin, but you need to look up their ID, type it manually here. It's all connected together nicely and neatly. Okay, so this is how we add this button. All right, so now you should be able to recreate this form just as shown here, including the advisor drop-down menu, which allows us, by the way, is important, as I mentioned, that you can add only the faculty that already exist in the dataset, and it's a good data quality control option. So in your assignment, I think you will need to recreate first the students form and then add yourself and your teammates to the form. So I think after this video, you should be prepared to do that. And I'll see you in the next videos where we will consider additional graphic user interface options.